Broadcasting from the Taz and Lake Lodge Studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio.
Hey, thanks for tuning into this video right here. I'm Brett Amundsen. I want to explain what we're doing and why you should watch these videos. We're talking the outdoors, of course, here all the time here on this channel, whether you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Sporting Journal Radio, watching it on our Facebook channel or whatever. This is an extended version of what we do on Sporting Journal Radio. So you can still listen to our radio show on the 30 stations around Minnesota, North Dakota, and Wisconsin, or you can podcast and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can listen on demand at sportingjournalradio.com. But what we're doing in these videos is a little bit different. We're making them a little bit longer a lot of times, so you'll just get the condensed versions on the radio show. So if you just want to sit back like you're listening to a podcast, sit back and enjoy just a free-flowing, long conversation, it's really cool. But at the same time, if you watch the video, we're going to put pictures and video. We're going to make it like a TV show. So it's like our radio show has kind of become a TV show here online. And if you want to see what we've done in the past, you can watch this show that I got playing behind me right now. This is with Jim Kinberg. His food is amazing. He loves the outdoors, and he's part of a new product called Hempura, which utilizes hemp in a fish batter. And you can use it to fry fish. You could also use it to fry up cheese curds. And there's a number of applications in the food world. So if you missed that interview, we also talked to Ken Anderson from Legacy Hemp. He was very instrumental in allowing farmers in the United States to start growing hemp legally. So we'll get a little civics lesson in hemp, and we'll find out what they're doing with Hempura in this interview right here. And you can watch it on our Sporting Journal Radio YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Now we're going to talk fishing today, though, specifically Lake of the Woods, what the new order, the new guidelines that are coming June 1st, what they mean. And also the DNR has started to set their deer population goals. They started up in the northern, western, northwestern part of Minnesota, including the Lake of the Woods area. So we'll touch on that a little bit right now with Joe Henry. Now we're going to head up to Lake of the Woods to check in with Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, I'll be honest, I struggled a little bit with coming up, preparing for this interview a little bit, just because I kept getting distracted with all the news that's been taking place in Minnesota, from Minneapolis to even Grand Forks. So many things happening in the news. So I just want to keep it light. I just want to talk about fishing. Fishing license sales are through the roof right now. If you go to the store, it's hard to find tackle in some places. It seems like a lot of people are going fishing. And if you ask me, that's good. That's a good thing,
yeah.
Joe.
It is good. There's a lot of very important things in the news, respectfully. COVID-19, certainly some of the things that are happening in Minneapolis, and very respectfully. But at the same time, those can't be ignored. But sometimes a person just needs a break, don't they?
Absolutely.
Getting out in the great outdoors, fishing in this case, what a nice release. And I think that people need that. I really do. And that's why, Brett, you talked about the license sales in Minnesota being up so much this year.
Yeah, people are going fishing, whether or not they're trying to do something about a meat shortage, or they're just trying to relieve some stress, or if they just don't have jobs to go to, so they're trying to find a way to recreate outdoors. One way or another, fishing is a great thing for people to do, regardless of circumstances. And of course, Lake of the Woods is a great place to do it, Joe.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's a reason they call Lake of the Woods, the walleye capital of the world. And there's other really great bodies of water with all respects. But, Lake of the Woods, it sure helps to have 10 million walleyes. It's all natural reproduction. We got the gene pool for monster walleyes in that lake. So we have been catching a lot of fish that are 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and I even saw a 34-inch walleye caught. Wow. A 34-inch walleye, I would like to put that one on a scale. It was released. I would like to put that on a scale. It was a massive, massive fish. So, there's a lot of big fish up there. There's a ton of fish being caught right now. The bite is so good. It's kind of cool because, normally with this colder water this time of year, it's a jig bite, and it still is. Now, people are starting to catch them on harnesses, pulling crawler harnesses with spinners and crawlers. They're also starting to catch them pulling crankbaits. And, really, cranks are one of those baits that you can actually use in colder water, just slow down a little bit, and they'll still be effective. But they're going all three ways. And, the other thing I want to mention too, Brett, is it's kind of interesting. But, for instance, when I put a fishery report out, it's important to know that there's pods of walleyes in different parts of the lake for different reasons. It's not like all the walleyes are in one spot. So we have pods of walleyes along that whole south shore. We got some walleyes hanging out about night in Bridges Island. There's some up by Garden, certainly some up in the northwest angle in very different spots. And those walleyes are in different spots for reasons. And normally it has to do with food. They're relating to some kind of forage base. And let's just say they're catching them anywhere from 6 to 30 feet of water, and they're biting in lots of different places.
6 to 30 feet of water.
They really are. 6 feet of water, you might have a shiner hatch going on the sand. And then, you got walleyes relating to deep mud where there's schools of bait fish and there's critters coming out of the mud, and so you have different little ecosystems going on within the system.
Yeah, well, that's when it's going. It seems like you can find them everywhere, and we've been able to, where I'm at too, we've been able to find them all throughout the water column, and sometimes different times of the day, different presentations. I caught one on a slip bobber the other day. Slip bobber and a fathead is what I was using. So don't be afraid to try different presentations. Is always great advice. And Joe, one thing I know you're excited about up at Lake of the Woods is starting June 1st, things are going to start changing again.
Yeah, we are. So charter boats are starting to roll. So, up until June 1st, you could have a captain and 2 customers in social distance, of course. And now you're going to be able to put, full crew on a charter boat. And there's some stipulations and things. Certainly our resorts have COVID-19 safety practices in place with personal protective gear, et cetera, et cetera. But, it's exciting. And, we're very related to charter boats up at Lake of the Woods, especially in the south end of the lake, because we have a really big lake. And for people that maybe don't have their own boat, maybe they're intimidated by the big water, maybe they say, hey, I'm on vacation. I don't want to have to worry about navigation, figuring out what the fish are doing today versus yesterday. Where's the wind coming out of? Blah, 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 blah. They could just, you go on a charter boat, you step aboard, you think about 2 things. What should I wear and what should I eat? Darn well the captain's going to get you on fish because he or she is networked with other captains. It's a very, very high probability you're going to catch walleyes when you go on that charter boat.
Well, it's just a neat area too. The fishing is always pretty good. We've had, triple-digit days out on those launch boats up there on Lake of the Woods in the past. But it's fun too, and I guess I don't know what's going on this year. I'm sure it's not too much different, but we've had shore lunches on Garden Island while we've been up there too, and I'm sure it depends on where they're fishing on the lake. They're probably not going to run all the way up to Garden if they're not fishing up there. But having those iconic shore lunch walleye meals to me is a part of any an important part of any fishing trip. So that's always been a highlight for me up there, Joe.
Yeah, shore lunches are part of it. And, up at the northwest angle, normally they would have shore lunches, and some of the charter boats on the south end do as well. And, the other thing I'll say about the fish fries is that just take fish fries as a staple tradition on Lake of the Woods. Everybody's having fish fries. And part of the reason they're having fish fries is because if you eat your fish you caught today, that allows you to catch more fish tomorrow.
That's right.
It's a one-day possession in Minnesota. So, they're having fish fries for a lot of good reasons. The cool thing about it too, I think, is that, guides clean your fish for you. And if you want, you can cook your fish in your own cabin if you're staying in a cabin. Otherwise, the resorts will even cook your fish for you. And I just think that's a nice feature because, there's times where we have good intentions of having a fish fry and cooking our own fish. But, we get in at, after fishing all day and we're tired, it sure is nice to bring those fillets over to the resort and say, come back in 20 minutes. Well, I'm all done for you. Is that ever nice?
Oh,
and every resort has their famous batter, their famous tartar sauce. Everyone has fine-tuned it over the years. And normally they're all very delicious in their own right.
And they'll give you some French fries with it too, or whatever. It's so good.
Tots, French fries, coleslaw, salad. You getting hungry?
I'm getting hungry, and you can't beat fresh walleye too. Never seen the freezer. That's the way I like to do it. I don't always, if I'm out fishing somewhere, I don't always bring home a limit. I'll just bring home what I can eat that night, or whatever. And I fried some up the other day, Joe. Pan fried it with breadcrumbs, Italian seasoning breadcrumbs. You can buy the little pack, little containers, whatever, at the grocery store. I put a little Tony Chachere's in there, some of that Creole seasoning, and then I found some friends of mine, and I found some fresh ramps, some wild ramps that we went and harvested. And I just took a couple of those and I brought it home. And a ramp is kind of this big, broad, leafy vegetable, I guess, that grows in the wild. And then at the bottom of it is a little bulb, and it has the properties that are like part onion and part garlic. So you take that bulb and you can slice it up and then you drop it in the frying pan while you're frying those walleyes or pike.
Ooh.
I actually fried up a pike the other day too, and it's just, oh gosh, it's so good.
It sounds really good. My sister was just telling me I gave her some walleyes I caught, and she said that she tried them in an air fryer.
Oh,
and she
yeah.
said that, sometimes I've tried them in an air fryer, and I haven't tried it a lot, but they said that for me they didn't get real crispy. But what she said is she read a recipe where you dip the fillet in oil and you put breadcrumbs around it, and then you put that in the air fryer, and they have to be individual. You can't stack them, of course. And she said they turned out real good. In fact, her son had actually liked those. She did pan frying and air frying just to compare. And they actually like the air fried better, plus, of course, healthier.
Yeah, I've never had an air fryer. I've got a friend that's got one, and they were telling me that they put everything in there. Everything they cook in the air fryer now. So it's pretty versatile. And actually, stick around on the show here this week, Joe, because we got Chef Jim Kimberg coming up. He's going to talk about hempura. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but it's with in partnership with Ken Anderson, who's the president of Legacy Hemp out of Prescott, and they're using hemp as an ingredient as a tempura batter, so they call it hempura. Clever. And he said it's the crispiest he's ever made fish, like the crispiest batter he's ever made for it. And he talks about air frying it too. So we'll get into that more later in the show here with Jim and Ken. But I love eating fresh fish, whether it's, I like eating pike too. Walleye to me is the best. And I want to talk about this June 1st. So this is the Stay Safe Minnesota order that from Governor Walz, and restaurants and bars will be allowed to host outdoor dining starting June 1st. So a lot of the resorts and lodges on Lake of the Woods, they're going to let people come and sit on their patios up there? Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, correct. So far they've been offering takeout meals and delivered meals in some cases. And so their kitchens have been rolling in most cases. And now June 1st, you can have outdoor seating up to 50 guests. And, luckily, a lot of the resorts already have very, very nice decks or patios set up overlooking the water, and it's gonna play real nice. Certainly we were quite surprised from a hospitality perspective that the restaurants just weren't allowed to open with restrictions. We didn't have any idea that it was going to be just outside dining. Thankfully, up at Lake of the Woods, we do have nice outdoor dining available. So we'll take advantage of that. And I know some of the folks are putting up tents up there. I know some of them have purchased additional furniture, and they're trying to make it real nice for guests who want to come and just have a nice meal and sit down and look at the water.
And Joe, we're running out of time here, so we're not going to be able to talk about it this week, but I wanted to bring up the deer goal setting that's been going on with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, because it's a 4-year process. In the first year, they're focusing on that kind of northwestern part of Minnesota, which includes around your territory up there, Lake of the Woods. And from what I understand, there's 3 zones kind of right around that Baudette area up there that are a part of this. Zone 103, I want to bring that up because some of the input from people in that area have said, hey, the northern part of our zone is different than the southern part of our zone. We want to split that zone in half. So the DNR is proposing a change in the boundary for that one and also increasing the deer population there. 111, they're talking about increasing significantly 100% of the population. And then 105, they're talking about stabilizing. They have more deer there with crop damage. So I'm assuming, Joe, that's the area when you drive around, you see all the farm fields there full of deer. That's the area where they're like, hey, we got enough deer around here right now.
Yeah. It's amazing. People don't realize it because when you drive up the Lake of the Woods, you see the pine trees, the lake. Sometimes you head a little farther north, you see the Canadian Shield begin with a rock and stuff. You don't realize that just south of the lake, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of agricultural land. Everything from, sunflower seeds to soybeans to, we're one of the largest producers of ryegrass in the nation, if not the largest producer. If you go to a golf course in Arizona, there's a good chance that grass was started up in Lake of the Woods County. And we created the seed. So there is a lot of crops. And I can tell you in the spring of the year when I'm driving around up there, when you have snow all over and then you have the fields that are starting to melt first, it's nothing to see over 100 deer in a field. And it's field after field after field. You go a little ways down, there's another 100. You go another 100. So I do agree there are a lot of deer up there. And I'll have to look into that more. I haven't really studied it, but it's good they're consulting with the public, and it's good that they're evaluating things because, let's face it, sometimes zones can be very different.
Yeah, well, we'll come back around to that one because that just came out this week. I haven't had a chance to really dig into it fully as well either. But yeah, that is the result of listening to some of the deer hunters around the state. So, Joe, if people want to plan a trip up to Lake of the Woods this summer and do some fishing and some outdoor dining, where can they find out some more information?
You know what? One option is to sign up for our newsletter. You can do that on our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Hey anglers, looking for a destination where walleyes, fresh air, and fish fries are a way of life? Look no further than the famous waters of Lake of the Woods. From Badette and the Rainy River to the main lake up to the northwest angle. Here you'll enjoy the best walleye catch rate in the state. Maybe you'll pursue world-class sturgeon, pike, or muskies. Plus you'll find lots of full-service resorts offering charter boats, delicious meals, and lots of Minnesota nice. Come experience the walleye capital of the world. Come experience Lake of the Woods. Catch the details at lakeofthewoodsmn.com.